So are there any other questions about the basic history of what was going on? Yes?
I understand that Waite, later on, years after the separation, that he got back to his original Christian background and started renouncing a lot of the teachings of the Golden Dawn and that, and started more of a Christian order.
Yeah, Waite did, and Westcott. Westcott was... See, what Westcott liked to do was dress up. He was the head of another order where all they did was talk about old documents called the Societas Rosicruciana in Anglia, which was a Masonic society. You had to be a 33rd degree Mason and just to get in. And then what would they do? They'd wear fancy robes with all sorts of sashes and stuff, and they'd talk about old books, and that was it. Waite, he was always a priest. He always wanted to be a priest. He never made it, so he kept going more and more, and he eventually became a priest in the liberal Catholic Church, which was sort of an offshoot, and he died a Catholic, not even an Anglican. That's what he wanted to be. And there are several people that things happen to. And my personal theory as to why is that the Golden Dawn system is very powerful. And if people do not spend time actually doing the work, then they can open psychic centers that they are not ready for. Westcott, as you remember, was just made a 7-4. I mean, an inner order member ready to do magic, even though he had never done any of the work. Waite didn't want to do any of the work anyway. There was another lady named Mrs. Stoddart. Mrs. Stoddart became the head of a Golden Dawn temple, was walking down the and she had been rushed through the degrees. Rushed through, opened her up, became inner order member. The initiation ritual into the inner order is just incredibly powerful. She becomes an inner order member, is leading the Golden Dawn, thinks it's wonderful, goes into a church one day, has a mystical vision, and denounces the Golden Dawn as an evil Jewish front for universal Jewish communist. I swear, a Jewish communist Nazism, which was really just a front for Satanism anyway. She just really went wacko. She has 2 books which are currently published by a little company out in California. One is called, Torchlight? Light Bearers in Darkness, and the other is called Serpent, what was it? Yeah, Trail of the Serpent. And the name of the author is Inquire Within. And her name was Stoddart. And she really was a member of the Golden Dawn, and she had been rushed through the degrees and just flipped out. I mean, just totally flipped out. And the thing about those 2 books is that there's information about the Golden Dawn in those books, which, if you can separate it from her craziness, is valuable. You just simply don't find it in other places. And in fact, I had I wrote a letter to Rigardi saying, I got these books. If you get apart from her craziness, is that stuff. And his comment to me was, that Stoddart woman was really barmy. But a lot of the factual information she had is correct. Yes?
I had heard that, in that order, that there were 7 years of character building and meditation before you were allowed to do anything deeper, approximating magic. And is that true?
No.
That's not true.
That's not true. You had approximately 1.5 years doing mystical studies and memorizing those things which would prepare you for magic. The last degree before you would go in, you could go through the first 5 degrees, and I was going to talk about this afterwards, which are the 4 elemental degrees and the neophyte degree in 5 months, 1 month each. Actually, 3 months for the neophyte, 1 month for each of the others, so that's 7 months. And then there was a degree between the inner outer order. It's known as Practicus Luminis or Portal, and that would take 9 months. That is 9 months going to rebirth. And so it's about 1.5 years. And then you would that it was only then that you would even start to prepare to do magic. Okay, the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram does several interesting things. It is a very powerful banishing ritual, but more than that is it doesn't banish like other rituals that say, go away. This is a ritual of great power, and it is known to light up, as Rigardi said, it will light up your aura. Now, the result of this is that if you practice various mystical pursuits, meditation and the like, you will inevitably start seeing things. Because on the astral plane, various entities are drawn toward energy, and you are lighting up your aura. And you are saying, I'm here, I'm strong, and when you start to develop that astral vision, all of a sudden you can start seeing things. I refer to these as little nasties. Well, the reason for that is because they don't really hurt you. It's kind of like they're maddening more than anything. I remember I was at a party one time, and I thought I saw somebody who I know, and I was talking to this nice lady, and I said, oh, John, and I was talking to a bush. And I turned around, the lady said, well, nice talking with you, and bye. The first time I ever experienced it, I was sitting in front of the television set watching a totally boring program, and we had a shag carpet of all different colors, and all of a sudden this big serpent just sort of rose out of the floor, made a nice loop, and sank right back in. It must have been about that wide. Oh, that was fascinating. Let's do it again. I have another friend who refers to this sort of phenomena as astral junk. And the thing is, if you've ever heard your name called, and you look around and there's nobody there. Again, that's these little nasties, as I like to call them, playing games. They won't hurt you, they can't hurt you. They can make things interesting at a dull party, but basically they're harmless. The lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram should be done with a dagger. If you don't have a dagger, you can point with a single finger. Some people prefer two fingers. When you use a dagger, put your finger down the length of the dagger. And once again, remember what I said at the beginning. Who remembers? Self, question, authority. This is the way I do it. Yes, even my authority, which is zilch. I'm telling you what works for me. If it doesn't work for you, abandon it and find something that does work for you. The reason I put it down there is because that way the dagger becomes an extension of you instead of using a closed fist and closing it off. A lot of Wiccan groups will also do something similar, so it's not far away. And also in Oriental arts, the same thing goes on, or martial arts. The weapons are always seen as an extension of the body. They are not separate tools. The person who uses them best is the one who uses it merely as an extension of the body. Now, in this, you use the symbol of protection, the pentagram. Now, I've been in a lot of Wiccan circles where one thing that they like to do is make these little tiny pentagrams in front of them like that with a circle around that. If that's fine for the circle, I'm not criticizing that, but that's not the way the Golden Dawn would do it. This is strictly using your arm out like that, beginning exactly where it ends. That's a hard thing to do. There's a couple of ways to do it so that you can get it to really match. One way is to keep your arm straight and move it just from the elbow, just from the shoulder. And then, if you get that angle the same, you're going to come right back to the same point. Or if you want, you can stick your hand right there, and you just have that as a marker. Yes, do be careful when you're bringing it down. You don't want to have fingers lying on the floor. Okay. Yes. Oh, it's the fingers. Okay. So once you have that, the idea also is the visualization, that you visualize it in bright, flaming blue. Okay. Now the last thing that I want to talk before I get into the idea of it is the voice. There's a lot of people who I've seen do it who go, when they go, Ata, Malkut. Well, as a friend of mine said when she was showing it to Rigardi, he stopped her and said, who do you think is going to be listening? There is something which has been said that the magician has a voice which is terrible to hear. And the way that I have, and terrible not ugly, but terrible in awe-inspiring. And the way that I have found to have great success with it is that you say it using your full breath, doing it loudly. It's almost like a chant. And as a result, your voice actually ends up going a little bit higher. Okay? So, if we were beginning, the first word, as you know, is ata. It ends up like this. What you are trying to do is cause, sorry if I overmodulated you over there, what you are trying to do is cause the entire universe to vibrate with you. I see the earphones go when someone's listening to it. You're trying to make the entire universe vibrate with what you are saying. Now, of course, not everybody has the opportunity when they're in an apartment with paper-thin walls to be calling these words out. So what you can then do is what's called the great voice, which basically means silently. But at the same time, you should be feeling like your voice is going to the ends of the universe. And it's causing everything to vibrate. And even if you have to do it that way with the great voice every time, I would still suggest finding a place where you can try it and get the feeling, because not only does the universe vibrate, but your entire body will vibrate with it. Okay? So, I don't have the words written down. I would imagine most of you are familiar with it. There are a zillion and one books which carry it, including the Golden Dawn. There's a lot of them. And there's a lot of variations, too. For instance, if you're into Thelema, the Golden Dawn would go Ata Malkut. Okay, I prefer going Ata Malkut for two reasons. Malkut is the earth, for one, which is at the feet, instead of at the chest. It looks less Catholic. Crowleyites would go Ata Iwas Malkut, Iwas being Crowley's holy guardian angel. Boy, a holy guardian angel named Iwas. That's interesting. But not very funny, unfortunately. I have a personal theory. I talked about that addition in my book, but I have a personal theory that when you get into higher degrees in Thelemic orders, that you're supposed to change that for your own holy guardian angel. Why should you be calling on Crowley's holy guardian angel? Yes?
Isn't that before Liber El Velicus, chapter 4?
Chapter 4 of Liber El?
Yeah, it's when you switch the name over.
Well, there was no chapter 4. There are only the 3 chapters, at least to my knowledge. There was one person who came, in fact, there have been a couple of people who have claimed to have the 4th chapter and who have made alterations, and it may be. Maybe there are certainly OTO secrets that I don't know and don't claim to know, but it would logically make sense. Let me put it that way. There are other things, for instance, for those of you who are really into Wicca, Alex Sanders, who took Gardnerian Wicca and added even more magical stuff into it, and who recently died, instead of going Ata, he has Ator, and I've never figured out where he got that. And there are various other alterations on that. But the idea is that you have basically 3 sections to the ritual. The first part of it is called the Kabbalistic cross. And what you are doing is making yourself the center of the universe. You begin, okay, how many of you have seen you begin pointing to your forehead, right? Wrong. It's in the Golden Dawn. Take a look at the Inner Order Works, that's document Z1, Z1 or Z2? Well, one of the early Z documents. And it says that you start off above your head and you bring the energy down. So what you do is you visualize a sphere sphere of white light here. In fact, I'll take you through a visualization of what it would look like. You don't have to visualize it, but this is how you would begin. You start off by imagining, always keep the blade pointing up in magic. Don't want to let the energy out. You start off by visualizing yourself getting bigger and bigger. Your head goes through the building, up and through the atmosphere. Your feet are always planted firmly on the ground. You get bigger and bigger until below you, very small, is the city, and then the state, the continents, and finally the world itself is just a tiny ball at your feet. And you can see the entire solar system, but no matter how tall and how large you get, your feet are always firmly planted, solidly on the ground. You are completely safe as you continue to grow, as you can see the entire galaxy, until soon that grows and the galaxies become mere spots. You are a virtual giant. And then at a distance, some ways far away, you see a point of light. This light begins coming down toward you, and you realize that even though it's a point of light far brighter, more scintillating, bright, swirling than any light you have ever seen before, it is only a tiny fraction from the source from whence it came. It comes down to directly above your head, where it forms a sphere of pure, intense white light. You then take your dagger, without a dagger, you take your fingers, and you bring it down into your forehead. Feel it energize you. And here you say, or more appropriately, vibrate the word Ata. Ata! Then you bring that energy down and see it go down all the way to your feet. Here you point down because you're directing the energy, where it forms a sphere of intense bright light. The name for Earth, or for the kingdom of Earth, is Malkut, and you vibrate that here. Malkut! Then you visualize that energy coming from the heart and moving out to the side. And you point to your right shoulder where you see another sphere of this pure white light form, but visualize the energy continuing out past it. And you vibrate, and the power, which in Hebrew is Vigabura. Vigabura! And feel it going out the left side to the ends of the universe. Vigedula! And then focus on your heart center as you fold your hands together. And then it's L'Olam Amen, which is English for, in Hebrew, is for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, or unto the ages, or so forth. But it shows that particular passage is not in all the gospel passages which give the Lord's Prayer, interestingly, and was definitely added by Kabbalists. Okay, the next thing to do, who else would do it? I mean, it's straight tree of life stuff. Every one of those names or classifications is dealing with the tree of life. They're names on the tree of life. Okay, the next part of it is what I call the formulation of the pentagrams. Here what you are going to do is make a circle of energy. Now, if you're in a small place, you would simply do it in front of you and pivot. Okay, do one to the east, south, west, north. If you're in a large place, then you can walk around and do it out in front of you. Okay? And so if we were here, and let's see, east is that way. That way?
East is this way. East, west.
Yeah, east is that way. Well, that was close enough. So if you had an altar, I'd be there, then you'd come around. And the first name of God that we vibrate here is Yud-He Vav He. This is a four-letter name of God that is unpronounceable. In fact, when Jews see it, they put on the name, I hope you can still pick this up over there, they put underneath it the vowels for Adonai, which means my Lord. Because whenever you see it, you're supposed to say Adonai. Well, if you take those four letters, and you put the vowels, Yahovah, you get this word Jehovah. but that was obviously made by someone who didn't know that those vowels weren't supposed to be there. The vowels are added with points and lines under, next to, and above the letters. So there is no such word as Jehovah, Yahovah, Yahweh. Those are all made up. They are all guesses. Again, if you doubt that, take a look at the book of the letters and what's it called? It's a translation of the Sefer Yetzirah by his name escapes my mind. It's called the Letters and Numbers. I'll think of his name later. It's a little translation, and he says that in fact the four-letter name of God may have been a code for other letters or for duplicated letters, and that this is verified in various parts of the Talmud. So there's no real way of knowing exactly how that was pronounced. Were there tribal gods named Yah and Yahweh or Yahweh? Yes. And what better way to hide the name of your God than within the name of somebody else's God? Okay. And in fact, back when I first started studying Wicca, the basic rule was, you can show everything to anybody, just don't give them the name of the deities that we use. That's not so true anymore today, but back when I first started, that was the truth. So you face to the east after you would do the ritual to the east, and then you make a large pentagram visualizing it. Some people see themselves tracing it, other people see themselves as carving it out in bright blue. Then you inhale, and as you inhale, you feel energy coming from the ends of the universe. And you come right up to both sides of the ears, step forward with your left foot, and both hands out, and you exhale with saying the name of God, charging this area. So here it's the ultimate name of God, which, by the way, can also be seen as a code. Yud would be archetypal masculinity. The first K, the second letter, archetypal femininity. Va, which is an extended Yud, get it, is a physical masculinity, and the second He is physical femininity. So we have the combinations of all spiritual and all physical opposites, but they're a way to describe the ultimate divinity. Point right to the center and continue drawing your circle, visualizing. Some people say a blue line. I prefer to say a white line. Okay, our next direction, obviously, after east is going to be south. Again, you draw a blue pentagram. The God name here is Adonai, which means my Lord. Adonai. Come back, point to the center, and then walk around here. Now we're at the west. The west direction. The God name here is Eheyeh, which is the name that God gave to Moses at the burning bush. Remember, God says to Moses, "Hey, tell Pharaoh, let my people go." And Moses says, "Right. Who should I say sent me?" And God says, "I am that I am. Eheyeh, Asher Eheyeh." And finally, you complete your circle, or you don't complete your circle, but you come to the fourth in the north. The God name here is Agla, which is composed of the letters A-G-L-A, which is an abbreviation for Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, which means Atah, you, Gibor, are great, Le'olam, forever, Adonai, my Lord. It is frequently said, there's in fact a Hebrew prayer which begins Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, so here it's Agla. Agla. And then you complete your circle by drawing a line from this blue pentagram to the one that you did here, uniting the centers. Then you walk back to the center of your circle, holding your blade upright. Okay, the next part is invoking the archangels. The Kabbalistic view of things was very interesting. It was very layered. The degrees are layered moving up, and the way they had it here was up at the top was God. But God was too far beyond anybody to really communicate with, so we look at aspects of God. Okay, so we represented by the God names. But, hey, this is still God. God doesn't do any how do you say it? Of God's business. I don't want to say his, because God is neither male nor female, both neither at the same time. If he was only male, then he wouldn't be female, and so forth. A paradox of being neuter and both sexes all at the same time. So we have the second level here. Then you go down to the third level, which are the archangels. They take God's orders, but there's no way they can do everything, so they send the angels out to do the work. So you have this sort of army of heavens, or of the heavens, so to speak. And what we're going to do here is invoke the archangels. And basically, what you do is simply call them to you. Okay? To the east is the element of air, and the archangel of air is Raphael. And you see him in the color of air, yellow, with in the shadows the opposite color, a little bit of purple coming in on it. And so you feel, if you can, the winds. And you say, before me, and you vibrate the archangelic name. So it would be, before me, Raphael. Again, you're back in this position, which allows that energy, which you had originally brought down, to cycle through you. Behind you, to the west, is water, the Archangel Gabriel, and he's dressed in, obviously, blue, with water fountains and streams. You kind of make up your own thing, and the opposite of blue is red, so you see a little bit of tinge of red in his clothing. So it's, and behind me, Gabriel. Okay, your right hand, south, heat. See, fiery red archangel, dressed in red, usually carrying a sword. This is Gabriel, and excuse me, not Gabriel, Michael. Okay, yes, Michael. It's that chuch, put the chuch back into Hanukkah and all that sort of thing. On the left is Michael. He's dressed in red, usually has a sword seen flaming with some green on his cloak. So it's on my right hand, Michael. On the left is the god of, the archangel of light, or Riel. It's sometimes said Ariel, or it's or represents light, is the word for light. So on your left is Oriel. He's usually seen in a very fertile field, holding sheaves of wheat and a little, not a covering, but sometimes either his clothes or a shield, which at the top has citrine, which is a type of off-green color. Then to your right, citrine, you have olive, and then down at the bottom would be black, and to the left is a brown, the color of russet potato, sort of a reddish brown. And that's Oriel. So on my left hand is Oriel. Now at this point, take a step out with your left foot. Gee, what do you look like? When I had my book out, when I was describing it, the editor wrote, "Well, don't you put your right foot out too?" And I said, "Try it." And you can imagine what happened when she tried it. You say, "For about me flamed the pentagram," and then visualize at your heart, okay, a 6-pointed golden star. It's that heart chakra, the centermost point of your being. And within me, or within the column, shines the 6-rayed star. And then you complete it once again with Ata Malkut Vigavura Vigadula Le'olam Amen. That's the end of this part of the ritual, which is the complete lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Now the next part that I'd like to go into is a wonderful means of meditation known as the middle pillar ritual. This will open up all of your psychic centers. And one of the big advantages of this is that it's sort of a reverse version of Kundalini Yoga, or what we usually call Kundalini Yoga. As you know, they always say, Don't do Kundalini yoga. It's unsafe because it starts out at your base chakra and you could hurt yourself if your chakras get open too soon. Okay, we'll play it safe. Instead of starting at the bottom, we start at the top and kick over the pentagram. So what you do, and the chakras or the power centers in the Kabbalah are different. They're not all, we don't have the same number. Of course, if you look at different chakra systems, they have different numbers. There's 6, 7, 8, 4, all sorts of ones. But, and in fact, there's actually a lot more chakras than that. You have chakras in your hands, your feet, your head, all over your body. Much like there are acupuncture points all over the body, not just on the meridians.
Every joint.
Yes, they're all over the place. And in fact, you've probably heard of the meridians, and in Kundalini Yoga they talk about the various paths of power, the Ida, Pingala, and so forth. Well, there's actually paths of power that go inside of the Ida and the Pingala, and that are going in different directions. It's a very, very complex system, which unfortunately in the West they've only got hints at and have an overview. I don't claim to be an expert at all in this. But with this system, it allows you, since our area now is basically protected and very clear, and I don't know about you, but it seems a little stiller in here to me. What we can do is we can do this visualization and also the intoning of the God names for the various parts of these. And all you have to do is sit straight for a few seconds, and I'll run you through it. Start off by taking a deep breath. And as you exhale, let all of the pain and all of the tensions go away. And then inhale again, and as you exhale, feel yourself cool and comfortable. And then take another breath, and as you exhale, say to yourself inwardly, silently and meaningfully, I feel great. I feel wonderful. And now visualize once again that bright light that you may have seen over my head. If not, did not see it, just visualize one over the center of this room. And realize that this is the heart and soul of your inner self, your higher self. It is associated to the God name Ehyeh. And we're going to vibrate this God name Ehyeh 3 times on an out breath. And as you do, what I want you to do is just observe that sphere of light. It should be about 9 inches in diameter, and just visualize it over your head, about the size of a dinner plate or so. So take a deep breath and then vibrate Ehyeh. We'll do it 3 times. Inhale. Now, leaving that ball, which is scintillating, pulsing with energy, still there, visualize a beam of light coming out of it and going down to your throat area. There it forms a sphere smaller than the one above your head. Understand that this is the link between your higher self and your everyday self. This is that link, the crossover between the mind and the heart and the inner spirit. And we call this link Dot, and the link, the God name which we associate with it is Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh Elohim. Now that's not actually the one which is really there. We sort of borrow it because there is really no God name that is associated with this Sephirah, but we do use this one and it can work very well. So it's Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh Elohim. So inhale. Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh Elohim. Yud-Heh now still seeing that, only now it's more powerful, more pulsing with energy. Visualize a beam coming down, uniting the two upper sephirot and continuing down to the very center of your body at your heart, above the stomach and at the base of the chest, just below the breasts. And here's a very golden, warm feeling like an interior sun. It's the place of your consciousness. And the God name for this one is Yud-He, this is a long one, Yud-He Vav-He Eloah V'Da'at. So on a breath, it's Yud-He Vav-He Eloah V'Da'at. Okay, and that's kind of long, so you can follow me, and I'm vibrating, and if we all don't get it, it's okay. Don't worry about it, just feel it. So inhale. Yud-He Vav-He Eloah V'Da'at. Feel it vibrate at your heart. Yud-He Vav-He Eloah V'Da'at. Yud-He Vav-He Eloah V'Da'at. Okay, and then it moves, the light beam moves down to your genital area, and here the God name is Shaddai El Chai, with that chuk sound. So again, inhale. Shaddai El Chai. Feel the whole area vibrating. Inhale. Shaddai El Chai. Shaddai El Chai. Now it goes down to your feet. And see a sphere forming at your feet, half above the ground and half below the ground. So it unites you with the earth. And the God name here is Adonai Haaretz, my Lord of the earth. Adonai Haaretz. Adonai Haaretz. Adonai Haaretz. Now continue to visualize these spheres at these locations with a beam of light coming down, igniting you, charging you. Now feel that as a link between your higher self, your lower self, your conscious, your subconscious, as you continue to breathe. With each breath, feel that energy flow. Feel it move through you. Now, at this point, when you reach this part in the ritual, all you would need to do is say, I wish for my holy guardian angel to reveal himself, or if you prefer, herself, unto me, and give me the answer to this question. Repeat that to yourself, and then whatever your question may be. And simply repeat that question 3 times. And then what we're going to do is take 3 more deep breaths. Now with each deep breath, we're going to visualize the pentagrams and light around us and the spheres and light within us as slowly vanishing to our physical or astral sight, and yet knowing that it is there. So take a deep breath. As you exhale, once again, say, I feel great to yourself. I feel wonderful inwardly. Take a second deep breath and start your eyes opening if they've been closed. And as you exhale, say to yourself inwardly, silently and meaningfully, I feel better than I've ever felt before. And one more time, say, as you exhale, say to yourself inwardly, silently and meaningfully, I feel charged, refreshed, and ready to be about my business of the day. And then to close things off, a good way to do it is you can either repeat the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, but an easy way to bring yourself down to earth is to stomp on it and clap your hands. Sound and making noise can really start things going and getting up and move. Now, where did the answer come from? Some people may feel it right away. Some people may get it in a dream, or some people may just have an awareness. And as I said before, the Golden Dawn is also a current. You can tap into it. Is there an organization that you think you might like to join? Practice these rituals, and they are listed in the Golden Dawn, in the book The Middle Pillar, and in many others. And ask your holy guardian angel if it's right for you to join that particular group